In my mind, this was possibly the best qualifying finals day we've ever seen. And the Karlovic-Golubev match might have been the greatest qualifying match ever. And they did not disappoint. It only went 2 sets, but the part that I saw was amazing. The Subways got me there a little late, but I got in and I saw, I actually recorded the last game, which was epic. Great returning by Golubev, great serving by Karlovic. He had match points. Golubev had break-back points. It went on for about 8 minutes. Great returns, great serves, and Karlovic finished it with an ace. It was just fantastic, and like David versus Goliath. And that was the first thing of the day. Then this Kukishkin Teixeira I didn't even see because there was so much else going on. I was running around like a maniac. Teixeira obviously didn't do so well with the late night from before. That was going to be a huge factor for everybody who was going to be able to handle that. Even the people that got out early, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then some people went all the way till midnight and passed. Kukishkin's a better hardcourter anyway, in my opinion, and he's had a lot of injuries, but he's good when he's on. Serra, a veteran, just pops up for these slams all the time. He jumped all over Martin. Aggressive, and once he got the early break or so, he just stayed back and played defense. It was pretty interesting. Really savvy veteran. And Martin was just completely frustrated. He was really tight as a fiddle. And I don't mean in the head, I mean in the body. He was hitting the racket on his legs. He was hitting his calves. He was just tight all over. I mean, he had tough matches with Wu and Guez, and it really affected his body. He loosened up in the second set, but it was too little too late. Donaldson had a bright green shirt on, so he was not hard to miss. And he is a very skinny kid. He's only 16. Petzner's skinny, but Donaldson's even skinnier. Good player. He's from Rhode Island. He went down to Argentina to train on the clay to get an all-around game, since up in Rhode Island they play a lot indoors in the cold. So he can do indoors, he can play clay, he has an all-around game. And there was one guy there in the crowd who was just going off about him, just thought he's the next great player. I don't know about that, but he definitely has a lot of talent. But, he's very thin, so he's going to have to get sturdier. And also, he's really trouble with his emotions. He's only 16, but he was really losing it. Like 6'2", wasn't that bad, actually. It was closer than it looked. And he was still in it, but he was getting so upset you could see that this is quickly going to go out the window. So I think about 3 love or 4 love, I realized this is over. So I took off. But got to see him a little bit. He does have game. Arnabaldi hasn't had a great year. Dutra Silva has had a good year. So this was a correct scoreline, really. Arnabaldi's though starting to come along here lately. And he had a good qualifying week, and he almost pulled it off. I saw a little bit of it. I wish that I had gotten to see the end because it looked like a good ending, a tiebreak. But Dutra Silva's through. I did see a lot of Devarman and Ward, and as I said in my video, Ward lost the first set, but do not count him out. Both he and Devarman have had great years in the Challenger circuit, having resurgent years, and they've both been fighting hard. A lot of tennis, though. Devarman looked real tired to me. When I left at like 3-4 or 4-4, I thought he was going to get broken late, and then Ward would serve it out and get on to the main draw. Well, I came back, and I'm like, what happened? It was over. And I'm like, did Ward win? And they're like, no. Devarman broke him and served it out. So just the opposite of what I thought. I asked some people, hey, was, Devarman was looking tired. And they were like, well, at the end, Ward was looking even more tired. So maybe that's what happened. But tough match. I mean, these courts kind of suit Devarman and his fast defense anyway. But Ward's been really on fire. Well, it was a great match. Jameer Jenkins, the American, great athlete, very strong, can hit the ball a lot harder as he gets older and gets better technique. Already has a good backhand. He's quick, athletic. He has a lot of potential, I feel. Fabiano's a veteran, and he can play clay and hard, and he was just... Look, this was on court 17, so that was a real big deal. It was a hard thing for Jenkins. Even at the end, he was still fighting to try to calm himself down and get into the match. He hung on pretty well. It was only a break each set, but he almost broke back at the end when Fabiano was serving for the match. But it was just too much for the youngster, and Fabiano took care of that. That was a shame because Jenkins is a good-looking player. It would have been fun to see him in the main draw and what he could do. And then, of course, this was later in the day. I had my Dominican shirt on for the Dominican Republic for Australia. He's making another comeback. He's over the age of, 33 or 34. He's older than Federer. And you could see he had played Jimmy Wang, he played Carol Beck. These guys wear you out. He was definitely worn out. He was stiff. He was tired to start. Second set, he got loosened up. He was playing a lot better. Donald Young was getting a little frustrated. I thought Australia really had a shot. Then all of a sudden he tweaked his back at 4-all. Got a big MTO, came out, really couldn't move well. Quick break and a serve out for the match for Young. I have to give Young a lot of credit, though. He had a new coach last year. I'm hoping he's still with that coach, because I liked the coach when I heard from him. And I was waiting for Young for the next U.S. Open. He got that new coach at last year's U.S. Open. And I was like, next year at this time, maybe he really makes some changes in his game. And honestly, I saw some more aggression, some variety, but controlled aggression, not out of control like he usually is. I really liked what I saw from Young. He still has a little bit of a hothead. That's an issue. But I do like, he has a shot to do something here. I like it. Let's move up here. Whoops, it's not the iPad. We have Kyrgios and Jaziri. Jaziri won the first set, then he kind of faded away as he tends to do. He walked right beside me after the match, and he had a pained look on his face, but I have no idea. There's nothing I could see physically, so I don't know what that was. Kyrgios is a big, strong kid. He was great in juniors. He's been great in the pros since he's come up, but he's been playing a lot of tennis, and honestly, he looked tired in the first set, the second set, and the third set. He had a bad back, a big MTO. It was 4-all, and I'm like, the guy can't, his back's bothering him. He was stiff. He wasn't moving well. So what's he do? He breaks and serves it out for the match. Amazing. This guy's tough. This guy's the real deal. More than his talent is the toughness. I think he's going to make it and do really well. And he's tall, but he can move. It was amazing, too. He threw down like 2 aces in that last game, and then he kind of limped towards the net, like all stiff, and didn't even look that happy. And it's interesting. Some people said to me, why isn't he happy? I'm like, well, his back's really bothering him, that's why. But he made it through, and God knows what's going on with Jaziri. I never do know. He has a great game. He had some great slices and slice and dice, some power here and there, movement, but then, fatigue or whatever, fitness issues, some mental issues, whatever. But it's nice to see Kyrgios go through. Dancevic's had a great year on the Challenger circuit as well. Ito, his great year was last year, so this is not a surprising score. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of this. I think I saw just a bit of it, but there's just too much going on. But what a great... Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, my God, come to think of it, I forgot. Dancevic was really tiring out. It was like 4-all, that's right, and they were making all these bad calls against him, and he was losing it, yelling at the umpire, and the crowd was really mad. They said to get rid of the umpire. And but Ito looked really tired too. But Dancevic couldn't even move that well at the end. He was really stiff and having trouble moving. But Ito looked exhausted. So I finally had to go. There was too much else going on. I just couldn't sit through all that. It was like a soap opera. But Dancevic pulled it out. That is amazing. I'll be dang. Oh, he did. I saw him break at the end, and I said he's either going to consolidate it and serve this out, or it's going to turn into a nightmare. But he served it out, so I'm glad he got through. But yeah, these, I don't think he's going to do anything in the main draw from what I saw. He looked just really messed up. But you never know. Golzerwick, he's having a little bit better year, I think. He beats DeVos. These courts a little slower. I mean, not slower, but they tend to. It's good for Golzerwick over DeVos. Sueda, these courts are good for him too. Heinrichs had a good couple of years, but Sueda, tough one, but he got through. Another really solid, great qualifying match. Daniel Evans, the other Brit, besides Ward, who has been having a great summer, and I'm glad to see him go through. I saw he lost the first set. I'm like, what the heck? I'm already upset about Kavchuk losing to this guy. But Kavchuk does that stuff. But I'm glad Evans was able to turn it around and come back. Maybe Masiris pooped out a bit. He likes a little bit longer rally. He's a clay guy. So that's good. And then, this is kind of surprising. I didn't even see this one either. Gonzalez, the clay guy, beats Weintraub, who's the hard court guy. So, yeah, but Weintraub maybe just swore out a bit. Gonzalez has been having a better year, so maybe that makes sense after all. I don't know. Robert, this was a good win by Robert. I know he's been playing a little better, but Kuznetsov's had a really good summer. He had a little bit of a tough one with Myrtle, but that's not the excuse. It looks like that was just a great match, and Robert was able to pull it out. I have no idea about that one. It's unfortunate I didn't get a chance to see any of that. Wow. I mean, Kuznetsov played a lot of tennis this summer. Also, maybe he got a little tight there at the end. Who knows? But Robert, I don't know. Good job. Wow. And then last but not least, this was the last match of the day. Olivetti, I had this guy, I did a Twitter on it and everything. I don't know Schwartzman. I've always liked Schwartzman. I've known him a little bit. I've seen him some on the clay. He's a small guy, but he's got a lot of game. And on hard court, I was surprised how good he was. He can really slice it. I would almost think he'd be good on grass. But the kid has game, but he looked a little tired. I'm looking here at his draw, and he hasn't had a tough run this week. So actually, Olivetti's had the tough run with Lajovic and then Gem. I'm sorry. So, I don't know, but Schwartzman looked tired. He looked more tired than Olivetti, and usually Olivetti's the guy who's wearing down the big giant. But man, I was right at eye level, and a couple of his serves went whizzing by me, would pop and jump into the stands, and this guy can, everybody knows, but to see it real close up like that is wild. But Schwartzman had some supporters right behind us, and I don't know who is good friends or something, or maybe a coach even, but I think it's just friends. They were yelling "Wamo, Wamo" the whole entire time, busting my eardrums up. I mean, it was like a Davis Cup, and I was like, I don't know, come up from Argentina into New York City. I didn't really appreciate that. So when Olivetti won, I made a real big deal about it, and they didn't appreciate that. But you're gonna make it Davis Cup? I don't know. But anyways, I was glad for Olivetti. I've been talking about him this summer. Glad to see him back from injury. I'm glad to see him in the Grand Slam finally. I feel like he can get into the Raonic area a little bit. Maybe have a little more game. He's got a lot to work on still, the backhand, but at least he has a slice now. And he did some volleys, so he does some stuff now. Then he has that big serve, of course. But I like Schwartzman too, but I don't know what's up with his entourage. Okay, so that's the wrap for the men. It was a great day of qualifying. I probably wished I wish there was two of me because there were so many great matches today.